What's up? I'm Vin, and today I want to take a look at this simplifying series question involving these logs here. And this is a question that my students brought back from a math competition. And even my strongest students, this question just absolutely stumped them. So it's definitely worth looking at. And what we want to do is we want to take this expression here, and it's going from k equals 8 to 2023. And we want to simplify it to a single log expression a over b, where a and b are positive integers, and they share no common factors. That means this is going to be as reduced as possible. And then we want to find what is the value of a plus b. So my first instinct here was to plug in, but the problem is what I was thinking about is that when I go to plug in, and even if I were to write this entire expression out, but if we were just plug in k equals 8, we'd have 8 squared is 64, and then 64 minus 4 is 60. And then we'd have minus log of 8 squared is still 64, but then minus 1 is 63. And then if we were to plug in 9, you can see this is quickly going to get out of control. We have log of 9 times 9 is 81, and then minus 4 is 77. And then we would have minus, if we plug in 9, we're going to have 9 squared is 81, minus 1 is 80. So this was already like looking a bit painful, and I wasn't seeing anything cancel. So I said, all right, I'm not going to do it this way. So then my next instinct was to take this expression here, taking log of k squared minus 4, and then we have minus log of k squared minus 1, that I was going to take this expression here and combine it into a single log. And I was going to say, all right, where's this going to take me? So I have this expression here, and then I noticed we have a difference of two squares on top and bottom. So I said, all right, it might be a good idea to factor this. So I'd factor this down to k plus 2 times k minus 2 on top over k plus 1 times k minus 1. Now, remember what I said before, that nothing was canceling out at first glance. My goal with a series like this, because be mindful, this question we were not allowed to use a calculator, and this was a timed question that you're not actually going to plug in the numbers from 8 to 2023. You would lose your sanity if you did it that way. But I was looking for a situation where I could get things to cancel out. And then what jumped out at me at this step was that k plus 2 and k plus 1 are 1 away from each other, and k minus 2, k minus 1 are also 1 away from each other. So I said, all right, what if I were to break this into two fractions, k plus 2 over k plus 1 times k minus 2 over k minus 1. Then I could break this into, we would have k plus 2 over k plus 1, and then I would have plus, because I'm using the multiplication property of logs, and I'd have log of k minus 2 over k minus 1. So now we're on to something here, and now this I could simplify to, we could write this as log of, we'd have k plus 2, and then we're using the division property, k plus 2 minus log of k plus 1, and then I would have plus log of k minus 2, and we're subtracting log of k minus 1. So now this is something that we could definitely work with. So now we could break up this original series here. So I'm going to write the first part here. We're going to have the series from k equals 8 to 2023 of, and now I'm going to write the first part here. We're going to have log of, so I'll put this here. We have log of k plus 2, and then we have minus log of k plus 1. So this will be the first part of the series, but now we're going to add, the second part of the series will involve this part here. So now we're going to say this series from k equals 8 to 2023 of the second part of this expression here. We have log of k minus 2 minus log of k minus 1. So once again, we're just rewriting this original series, and now these log terms, the inside terms, k plus 2, k plus 1, are 1 away from each other, and then k minus 2, k minus 1 are 1 away from each other. So hopefully this will help us find a pattern where terms will cancel out. So now let's start to simplify this. So we'll start with the one in purple here. So if we plug in k equals 8, notice what we're going to have is we're going to have log of, and if we plug in k equals 8, we have 8 plus 2 is 10, minus, and if we plug in 8 to the second part, 8 plus 1 is 9. And now I'm going to plug in a few terms here. If we plug in k equals 9, we're going to have log of, if we do 9 plus 2, we're going to get log 11, minus log of 9 plus 1 is 10. And notice right away, see log 10 minus log 10 is going to cancel. So this pattern here, if I do one more term, let's see, if I were to plug in, let's say k equals 10, then I would have log 12 minus log 11. So what you'll start to notice is that the first and last terms cancel out. Every time something new is introduced, the first term of the previous sum is going to cancel out the last term of the new sum. So now I'm just going to do this all the way to the end like this, And let's say I were to plug in the second to last term, k equals 2022. Well, that would give me log of, we would have 2024 minus, if I plug in 2022 over here, I'll have 2022 plus 1 is 2023. So I have log of 2023. And then the last term here, if we plug in 2023, we'll have log of 2025 minus, and if we plug in, once again, 2023, we'll have log of 2024. But now let's look for the pattern here. Notice log 10 minus log 10 is going to cancel. And then we have log 11 minus log 11 going to cancel. And then when we keep looking at the next term, it cancels out the first term and the last term. So let's say I had the term before this, I would be canceling out the first term minus the last term. And then for the last part here, we have this first term here canceling out this last term here. So the only terms that would survive would be log of 2025 minus log of 9. But now we have to repeat this, but we're going to do it for the series in green here, because once again, we broke up the original series into two separate series. So now we have plus, and we're going to plug in 8. We're going to have log of, if I do 8 minus 2, I get 6. And I have minus log of 8 minus 1 is 7. So I could do this for the first few terms here. If I plug in 9, I'm going to have log of 7 minus log of 8. And I'm going to do this all the way towards the end here. I'm going to plug in the second to last term, 2022. And that would give me log of, if I do 2022 minus 2 is 2020. And then I have minus log of, if I do 2022 minus 1, I get 2021 like this inside the log. And let's just make these parentheses a little neater. And now for the last term here, I plug in 2023. I'm going to have log of 2021 minus, and I'll have log of 2022 to end this here. So now I look for the pattern, and notice what I have is I have minus log 7 plus log 7. So when I introduce a new sum, the first term is going to cancel out the one before it. So if I were to go, the next term would be log 8 minus log 9. That would cancel out this term. So once again, when I introduce something new, the new first term cancels out the last term. The new first term here cancels out the last term here. So I would be left with log 6 minus log of 2022. So now we'll just write down the surviving terms here. So once again, in the purple, we had log of 2025 minus log of 9 like this. And then in green, so that was these two terms here. But now in green, what we have is we have log of 6, and we're subtracting, we have log of 2022. So now this is way simpler. So now we'll just combine these. So I'm going to combine these two and these two. So that'll make log of 2025 over 9, and then plus I have log of 6 over 2022. So I'm just using that division property of logs. And now to simplify here, I'm just going to go on a side quest because these students did not have a calculator. So I'll go ahead and do the long division by hand. So I'm going to do 2025 divided by 9. But I'll use the shortcut here. 9 goes into 20 twice with the remainder of 2. 9 goes into 22 twice, now with the remainder of 4. And then 9 goes into 45 5 times. So that allows me to simplify here. I'll say this is equal to log of, and this will just simplify to 225 on the inside. And then I'm going to have plus, and now for this one, I'm going to do 2022 divided by 6. So 6 goes into 20 3 times with the remainder of 2. 6 goes into 22 3 times, now with the remainder of 4. And then 6 goes into 42 7 times. So this will simplify to log of, and just be careful, the 6 was on top. So it's like I'm dividing the top and bottom by 6, which would reduce that to 1 over 337. So now I'll just combine these here. This is going to make log of, if I do 225 times this fraction, I'll have 225 over 337. And there's our simplified form, a over b. So this will tell us a is equal to 225. B is equal to 337. So if I want to find what is a plus b, that's just going to be 225 plus 337. And I'll do one more side quest. I'll just write this over here. If we do 337 plus 225, we'll just do the addition. That's 12, carry the 1, 6, and 5. This is going to work out to 562. So that is the value of a plus b.